Y'all hear us? Online?
Yes.
I think everybody's ready, Kenny. Kenny, can you hear us?
It's very faint. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Yes, yeah. We're getting.
All right. All right. We ready to get kicked off here, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I am going to call to order the regular session of the Lake City Historic Preservation Commission for Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. The agenda, hopefully you guys can see on the screen, is listed. If you cannot, please let me know.
We can see it.
You cannot see it on the screen.
We can. Yes.
Oh, can. All right. So as you guys can see, we've got the agenda here in front of us. We've called to order the meeting. Mike, I'm going to ask that you make a roll call for the commissioners in attendance and others in attendance.
Okay. Kenny.
Here.
Judd.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Jared. Here. Mike. Here.
All right. All right. So as we look forward to today, we're going to go through approval for prior meeting minutes, which were distributed to the commissioners. And then the other agenda items as listed. The one correction is under the action items for COA 2026-15. Ben Hake has requested a postponement. And so we will postpone any discussions on that COA until the next meeting. All right, so let's do this. Yes, sir.
No, we normally get two minutes too. We should keep notes on who else is.
All right.
I'll see when we have guests. But yeah, okay. But
right.
have we just are we dealing with the minutes right now? I'm a little confused.
Yes, we're getting ready to go through the minutes. If you'll give me one moment, I will pull them up. But ahead of that, let's, Mike, if you can assist in taking roll call for the attendees so that we know who is either virtually online or also in the room.
Hey, is there anybody? Attendees online. Can you tell me your name?
My name is
Ethan Mobley, owner of Dynamic Planning Plus Science. Sorry, Michelle.
That's all right. Michelle Pierce with the Lake City Planning Commission.
John and Malley with Dot Architecture.
Rainey Ott with Dynamic Planning Plus Science.
And Richard.
We gotten all of them. It looks like things sounds like we maybe have a couple others.
Richard, are you here?
Richard Hopkins, yeah.
Do you see his chat?
I don't know. Well, I think he's just note taking and he has AI doing that for him. So I'm gonna see what else is that.
Any objections by the team to AI note takers?
No objections here.
Okay. Did we get any others? Do we have others in the room? Mike, I can't see.
Sorry. No, that's fine. In the room, Steve Peters. And I'm an attorney for Derek Wright, and my friend Callie Cooper, and Derek.
All right. Mike, have you recorded everyone?
Yes.
All right. The next will be approval for prior meeting minutes from the previous session. Those were distributed to the commissioners. I'm going to ask that if there are any corrections, that those are noted.
I have a comment and a correction.
All right.
I would just note that in the one dealing with Ben Hake, we need to be a little bit careful how we talk about those things. You say that it does not adhere to the guidelines. We did not vote on that. I think this is okay. I would go ahead and accept it as the way it is and see if we get any reaction from History Colorado on the way it's written. But we did not take action on that. I think we might need to talk with the town and others about how we deal with postponement of applications when they come in and so on. But I think that's okay as it is. The correction is that it's Tina Caniclio rather than Christina Bowman, who's been doing, well, I think Tina's been doing most of the work on that.
I mean, they've been, I'm not, they kind of tag team it in terms of.
Well, then I would put both names, where you note that the architectural surveys are being updated.
Oh, no, Tina's been doing that.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what, okay,
yeah.
then that name should be Tina rather than Christina.
I'll
All right.
Okay.
So we will correct and redistribute the notes. It's under the first bullet of old business, new business on the agenda or on the meeting minutes.
Okay.
So we will hold on approving meeting minutes until corrected, which,
You can approve them given that correction.
okay, we can do that. Any other corrections or notes from the committee?
Nope.
I take that as a no.
Yes.
All right. All right. So, Mike, let's take a vote on approval for the meeting minutes from the previous July 14th regular meeting session.
Kenny.
Approved contingent upon the correction that Joe has noted.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I'll contingent on that, correction.
All right.
Mike, yes. Okay.
All right. I'm going to close that document. We'll go back to the meeting agenda. Do we have any, under item D, any public presentations or citizens communications prior to moving to the next one?
Let me ask you all, since I haven't been here before. Again, it's Steve Peters. I'm a lawyer. We've got an issue with Derek Wright with something that happened Friday. I don't know if that's a new business issue or a citizen comment communication. It doesn't matter to me which we go on.
Okay. I think if it's relative to an existing COA, it would probably go under additions to agenda. Just from a logistic.
Items for discussion. Yeah, I mean, it could be just a preliminary discussion that we don't have.
My understanding with the agenda is, we can't deal with any decisions unless something's put on the agenda. That's the rules in the state of Colorado. We can add a discussion to the agenda. That, I think, would be the appropriate way of dealing with this.
I agree with that. I'm not going to be asking for a vote. I'm going to be telling you what the problem is and see if we can solve it.
Okay.
So you just
All right.
tell me.
So we will, and Joe help me out and Lex help me. I think we can add that as an item under, under discussion, after we close out action item number 1, if that's acceptable.
Yeah, that's fine. We do have a whole consulting team here that we pay for.
Okay.
Be on this meeting.
Well, then I'm going to look to you if we've got further advice and guidance.
Yeah, just, how about we just wait till open discussion?
Yeah.
And then we can discuss it then.
Sounds great.
All right. All right. Very good. Any other items before we get to our action items from anyone in the room? All right. Well, we're going to move on to F, action items, where we will take up the matter of COA 2026-18, the Henson Street Housing Development Project. And I'm going to go ahead and swap screens here for a moment. That is for the construction, Lake Fork Housing, a 28-unit workforce housing community project, as listed on the applications. The materials submitted with the application were distributed prior to the commission members. And we're going to open it up for amongst the commission members for any questions, comments for the Designs Up Tomorrow team and the town. So Joe, Mike, Jared, Judd, please present any questions. If you want me to advance to any of the particular drawings or pictures that are provided, I can certainly do that.
Well, I would suggest that we ask the representative of the architectural firm to just give a brief outline of what they've given us here.
All right.
Yeah, I can do that. I can share if that's okay.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
I just sent a request to get permission.
Going to come to the PC. I think that the town PC in the room, whoever's got access.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Not yet. Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Okay. I'll just run through the slides, and then I do have a 3D model that we could show as well if you'd like to see a little bit more detail than the elevations. But we just kind of start off with the existing conditions. I think everyone's very familiar with the site. This is the current condition of the site, and we're working on lot consolidations and documentation. So there's still some civil work being done currently, where we're documenting the center line of the road a little bit better and the edges of the road. So some of the information that we have in our packet may be subject to changes as far as it comes to the site layout. And then these are just some images of the current conditions on site. And you can see there's quite a bit of grade change towards the street, but then other than that, it's mostly flat. And so that's a little bit of what we're working through right now with some of the buildings in the front. So those grades will be adjusted. Since we last met, we did make some adjustments where we shifted the buildings and the site further west. Again, we're still working on that buffer between the road and the buildings. But one of the biggest comments during our working session was that the path felt too close to the buildings. And you can see this is the current path here on the east side. And so that was part of the push to shift the buildings to the west a little bit more to create some space. So we may need to kind of go back and forth to get enough space towards the road and keep that path clear. But that's our current site plan. And then the elevations we've updated and we've incorporated your feedback into those. So this is the north west building. Originally we had the entrance to this building on the north, and we moved it to the west and added a roof structure to help break these buildings up to look at a little bit more unique. And that's kind of the case for all of these west facing buildings. Is we want them to feel very similar and kind of this row house feeling, and keep them the width fairly skinny, so they feel like individual houses. But we wanted each one to feel a little bit different. So this one, like I say, is two kind of single family home looking buildings, and they're the skinnier because they're single 1 bedroom units. And then as I go to the next one, this is 4 2 bedroom units. And so that changes the mass quite a bit. It creates these kind of wings that come off to the side. For these, it's a little hard to see in the elevation. So like I say, I can show you in the 3D, but this is a covered porch on the north side because I know that's a big concern with ice and snow buildup. And then on the south, we kept the roof further back. So that changes the way that the building reads. Um, this is the southwest building facing the street, and with it there's a 2 bedroom unit on the bottom, and then the rest are the 1 bedroom units. And so again, that changes the mass, creates this kind of shed roof off to the north side. The entrances are covered and back in this pocket, and then on this side the entrance is on this side over here. And you can see some of the grading that we're working with, so most of this grading will come up to underneath the windows. And you can see it here where this grading kind of changes. And so we're working through kind of some of that circulation and the way that grading works. Some of the other changes that we made was originally we had porches along the front of all of these buildings, and we changed that configuration so that some of the porches are on the sides and kind of more recessed away from the street, which I think also helps break down the mass a little bit. And if I could, I can show that model really quickly because I know these are the buildings that are kind of the most prominent. So it would be good to show you that a little bit. So this is kind of a stylized rendering. The finishes aren't, the final colors are not selected yet. So I didn't want to show something that looked a little bit more final. But this is basically for the massing purposes. And like I say, the grading along the street is going to change a little bit, and the road lining is going to be adjusted as we get that data, which we're missing. So right now, like I say, we added a porch here, which we didn't have before. This will have a small area out front for seating, but then we tucked this area back here for a porch for this unit. And then, like I said, the entrances are kind of hidden off in this pocket area that's covered. So on anywhere there's a northern facing entrance to a building, we've tried to put that into a pocketed entry. And you can see this was the one that has kind of the mass off to the side with the 2 bedroom on the first floor and has the shed roof. This next unit has the 4 2 bedroom units, which create this porch, which we pulled the roof back on this side and then pulled it forward on this side to create that separation. The other change we made was we did have these kind of roof overhangs that came out, and they made the buildings feel too continuous. So what we did is we pulled the door back and that roof back, so it created more separation so that these buildings feel more separated from each other. And we did that on these first 2 buildings here. And then the third building, like I say, we moved the door from the north side and put it on the west side, and then created this kind of front porch overhang. The other thing is some of these roof outlines are going to get thicker because of we're currently working through construction drawings, but we're going to thicken those up to match this thickness. We added trim to all the windows and doors, and just tried to break up the buildings as much as we could with balconies and outdoor space. And then briefly, I'll take you through the back. So these buildings are fairly similar to the original. We have inset porches for each of these units on the ground floor. The 3 bedroom units we put on the ends to kind of cap, and we rotated the buildings separately in separate directions to kind of break up that mass a little bit more. And then there's a separate split down the middle for circulation that gets you access to the upper levels. On the back side, I'll take you back here. I need to adjust some of the trees probably, but this is that path. That's the existing path that we wanted to maintain. So you can see we'll need to do some adjustments, but overall, it's a much better feeling having the path further away from the buildings. And then, like I say, off the catwalk, we have the inset balconies for these buildings in the back. And that's the majority of the changes. I think some of the other public feedback was they really liked like a communal fire pit and seating area for the public, and they or sorry, not for the residents, and they liked the idea of maybe a kind of like a garden space that could be along the path that people could either do like a food garden or just like a little garden where people could come and hang out and enjoy the outdoors. So that's the majority of the design. I can show you guys a little bit of the materials. Let me just get this parked here. So we did end up getting samples. Let me stop sharing. And we can send some of these to you guys, but essentially we got these, which have a very good texture to them, and some kind of base natural wood color materials. And so those are things that we'll kind of refine as we move forward, but we're trying to take everyone's feedback into account from the working sessions. So
Yeah, the only thing I would add is to the point of the kind of the fake look of the wood. This is a newer product from James Hardy, which is still the board that is fiber cement, so very fire resistant. And what they've done is they've taken some of that fake relief that you saw in person, and it looks more just like painted wood. So,
yeah, it's actually a really good texture.
and it can be installed vertically or horizontally.
Yep. So
I have a question where you have the section, maybe you're gonna go into it. If you are, just tell me, but where you have proposed materials and a bunch of different pictures of different kinds of wood-looking designs and so on.
yeah, so the finish is this. I would say this kind of top middle is probably the closest. Sorry, let me share again. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is probably this image here and this image here are probably the closest to the wood that we've found. The consensus from the meeting was that people did like the bolder color choices. But we are going to try to be conservative and thoughtful about those choices. And so there will probably be some potentially painted versions, or we're still looking for a material that has the vibrant colors that go in the proper orientation. But it will be a mixture of color and natural wood look is kind of what the goal is going to be. And here's some examples of other materials that we were looking at, but we just received these samples, like Friday. So, like I say, we can send out some of those so you can see the new materials. They look better than these ones do.
It'd be great if we could get some samples in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can actually send some too. Is just we'll mail them out to you guys. But yeah.
Yes, that's closer.
This is a little bit closer to what the actual final material will be, but it's nice to get them in your hands and feel them because the texture is nice.
Aside from so go ahead, Joe.
I would just comment that, I mean, I know, and I spoke to some people at the direct that you had. There was a suggestion of having desiring bold colors from a number of people there. I just need to point out that from the Historic Preservation Commission viewpoint and the historic district, there's always, we do not control or have a say into what colors you actually use. But there's, as long as the historic district's been here, there's been a suggestion or recommendation that a historic palette be used on buildings. And that's not to have completely bold colors.
And we can look at period correct colors. That was just the feedback we received. We showed both palettes, and that was some of the feedback was kind of leaning towards that bolder color palette. But we can be, we plan to be respectful and try to find the kind of the best, balance there.
Aside from the materials, color, and the adjustments to some of the lines you had indicated, are there other changes that you guys are contemplating relative to the design layout that you've shown and the like?
So really, it's mainly just along the street that we're trying. We're getting an additional survey for the road so we can kind of dial that in, and it's just really working out kind of how the porches work in this area. So it's more landscaping at this point. We did have a debate, and we'd love your opinion on this, if we should add another balcony like this one to this unit, or if we should just keep it kind of asymmetrical. So that is something we were kind of thinking about, was maybe adding the same balcony over here, which would, add a little bit, make this a little bit different than these, but it already is because it's asymmetrical. So just things like that. It's really, we're to the point where we're just kind of dialing in some of the final details. But that's really the last thing, is incorporating final grading, which will probably bring some of this up to just underneath the windows, which will make the buildings feel a little bit shorter. But that's really the main thing that we're working through at this point, other than, kind of incorporating any final feedback that you guys have.
Just, my opinion is, and, I would prefer not to have the porch on the, added. And the reason is, well, I think it's broken up as it is. And also with the snow loads, I'm just saying it, using and all. I like without adding.
No, you said you prefer not to have the porch that's on there, or?
No, the additional. I'm not having any problem with having the porch, but the additional porch, I do not.
Does the additional porch, is that for keeping areas snow free? Yes.
Sorry, say that again.
I don't quite understand what's the additional porch is where, and Judge objecting to it.
Oh, it would just be, we were just considering adding an addition, like the same porch here over here, just so that this unit had their own porch off their living room. But it really comes down to trying to make the buildings feel more broken up. So.
Okay, well, I'm having trouble seeing where the arrows are.
Under the cursor doesn't, that's kind of jumpy. The white building underneath the windows of the white building. There you go. And to match the one that's on the brown.
Yes. I don't think I have a strong opinion one way or the other. I mean, those porches during the wintertime, they probably do a lot to keep snow from being all around the buildings and stuff. So I think that's important. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter one way or another.
I think the more visual variety, perhaps the better. Particularly for the stuff that faces Hinson, just breaks up the monotony of so many similar buildings.
So it would look like that, but like I say, we don't have to do that. It's just something we were considering since you asked if there were any additional things we were looking at. So
if you put a porch up there, you can put a door up there to match the one on the left.
yeah, it would match the same configuration. So.
When do you think you are going to be in a position to have final drawings for submission.
Well, this is final. You just you asked what,
Right.
if anything, we would consider changing. That was really the only last item. So other than that, we can honestly, if I delete that, that is our final version. And like I say, any feedback that you guys have, we can incorporate. So we did our best to get everybody's feedback last time and make sure we had as much of that. So that's where these porches came from. And because originally these porches weren't here, these overhangs for this unit weren't here, and they were a lot more similar to each other. And so that was really our focus, was to try to adjust everything to match what your guys' feedback was.
Got it.
Well, is there a way that we can have some, I know you're moving around this three-dimensional presentation here, that's not in the materials you submitted here. I would.
Yeah,
really
let me go back to the PDF. Sorry for that. Here you go. So
Is there a way that we could have some angles or some indication of those 3D models in the paper we have for approval?
yeah, we could add some renderings to these sheets if that would be helpful. So this building here is this building here. So we could also just run through it quickly if that's helpful. So okay, I can just run through these front buildings. So like I say, the changes that we've made is that we added this roof along the west side, and originally the door was on the north side, and the feedback was that that was going to ice up and we didn't want that. So we moved the door here and added this porch feature. And so in 3D, that's what this looks like. There will be a catwalk that we add, which is kind of like just a raised deck that gets you across this kind of slope, which we also added, and because we had to shift the buildings a little further north. So that's this building. Are there any questions about this one before I jump to the next one?
No.
Okay, so then this is the middle building, the west center building. So like I say, we added these porches off to the north and south sides. The north porch is covered, the south side's open, and that's really for a massing exercise to try to make the buildings look a little bit different from one another. And so you can see that here, where we have this covered porch. We pulled this roof back so that it didn't connect the buildings as much. And then this south porch is uncovered, just to help break the massing up a little bit more. So we also have porches underneath these other porches, which will help keep those clear, and the entrances are under there as well. So are there any questions about this one?
No,
No, and I'd say, I don't think we need to go through all these unless other people.
the last one's the one he's asking about the change. We got one more.
Okay.
Then you can see it.
Well, and then this is the last one, which is just that we added the porch off of the front and added outdoor space off to the side instead of in the front, partially because of the topography. But those are all the Henson's facing buildings. And that, I think those were the most important ones to get your feedback and kind of work through with you. So, but yeah, this is the design we're hoping to get approved. I guess if there's any feedback or questions, let us know, and we're happy to answer anything else.
What's your timeline on this? Is when do we need to have
Today.
today?
Yeah, we need to get the drawings done before the end of the year is the goal. And so we really need to get this approval so we can finish the engineering. We've started the engineering, hoping that this is close. but we would love to get a formal approval so we can confidently move forward.
Okay, well, the materials that you submitted don't have a final, was a little bit confused by this submission because you had all those different materials, pictures, different materials. Now you're telling us that it's particular one, or maybe two different ones in there, is that right?
It's really just that these were the inspiration photos that people liked, and that these were the materials that everyone seemed to like, and that's what's in the packet. We have been. This is also the material we're going to send you at the very end here. So I guess really what it is that this is what people liked the feeling of, like the simple architecture, the lines of these buildings are kind of what people liked, the brighter colors. These were the samples that we had available when we came to visit. And then these were the final materials that we were hoping to get approved.
And the final materials, I mean, hardy board.
Yeah, it's going to be a James Hardy product. And like I said, we can send samples. I think the materials are more flexible. It's really the architectural elements. Like, do we need to add balconies? Do we need to make architectural adjustments? Because materials we can work through later. It's really just making sure that you guys are okay with the architecture.
I have a comment regarding the windows. It feels a little, feels a lot repetitious, having just, it seems to be just, I see there's maybe one variation of windows in a recessed area, maybe on a western elevation. But otherwise, it seems to be the same window, just repeating itself a lot. And I realize it's a significant building, Lex. It's just because we're most likely going to be going with modular to keep the cost down, to actually make it affordable. Yeah. So that's part of the reason. It just keeps the cost down when it can be repeated over and over. Sure. So I mean, that's really the reason for it. Yeah.
Well, still, my feedback is that like, it'd be nice to have, if possible, if we can keep it within specified budget, is to have a little variation. And you know, it doesn't have to change every building, but just a little variation in window. And then I think we generally prefer to see a ratio further away from 2-to-1, closer to 3-to-1, a little taller, skinnier. And maybe, I guess the only other thing is historically, it's rather than having divided light just on the upper sash, but maybe have a single mutton. Yeah, so it's just divided into 4, overall, just divided into 4 effective panes. I realize it's 2 different sashes. I wonder if it would live better that way. It seems like from the inside, you're looking out through that divided light section, and then it's clear on the bottom, but that's outside of our purview, I realize. So yeah, just maybe consider variation if it's possible in window configuration, and then how the light's broken up.
Yeah, we do have more variation on the 3-bedroom units. One thing we were trying to keep was kind of a simple overall architectural feel to this, and so that was why we used a lot of the same proportions. These front windows would actually be one large window that would all be connected, but they would look and feel kind of like 3 independent windows. So we tried to use the same language of window and slightly different applications to try to break them up. So again, this one would have a door incorporated into it. And then on the 3 bedrooms, there are more variation with the different windows. We are working through kitchen design a little bit still, so there would be an opportunity. Maybe we could add a kitchen window that could be a little bit of a different proportion. But we can look into that if that's a goal we need to achieve.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it just starts to feel, I mean, there's already a lot of repetition with building shape. it just starts to feel a little institutional, particularly on the back, on the eastern portion of the development that sits along the river.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, we can do that. We could also, combine some of these windows, adjust some of the proportions of these windows. So those are definitely things we can look at. So, and we'll look at the 3-to-1, and see how that feels.
Again, this is Ethan Mobley, the prime on the contract. We're trying to get approval so we can stay on time and on budget for the delivery of the design package. If we want, we could approve some elements like John was mentioning as far as massing first, and then if you have secondary approvals that we need to move forward with at a later date, we should probably do that. If you have concerns with window treatments as well as material treatments, we can come back to you. But like John mentioned, we got to get going on the civil side, and making massing adjustments is going to delay the project.
So you require, for you to get the paperwork done to move forward on this, you need a formal approval from the Historic Preservation Commission?
Yes.
Because at this point, I mean, the way we're talking about you being able to make some changes and so on, yeah, I'm not quite sure how that works. I mean, once we give approval, that's done.
Would the board entertain a motion to approve it the way it is and see if you get a majority vote or not?
We could do that.
Yeah, because it will push back the timeline. This is really this is it in the budget for terms of HPC approval, and yeah, we have a hard deadline by the end of the year, and I know they got to get to engineering. So in terms of, especially the massing, there's not, we're kind of beyond the point of changing the massing in terms of the budget. And maybe the windows could be something that could be addressed, but yeah, it's pretty late in the game to be able to accommodate.
Well, I would just comment that I wasn't informed that that's where we were at this point. When I talked with Mally last time, I suggested that they get this in last month so we could have some initial discussions on this. I figured this would be, if there are some suggested changes and so on,
Okay.
that we might have to go one more session. I'm a little uncomfortable in just approving with all these possibilities of changes and so on.
Well, it's
Well,
Joe,
so
can you tell us more of what you're wanting to see in a next version?
yeah, I think our goal is that this is the final version, and if there are some tweaks, maybe they could be something that we do kind of over the counter, where we,
Condition.
as like a condition or something like that is what we would be looking for. We're trying to be accommodating. We are open to feedback and incorporating it. But this is the final version that we would like to be approved. But like I say, if you guys do have feedback, we could do as a conditional approval. We'd be happy to incorporate that and then work with you over the counter to get those approvals up to the standard that you guys want to see.
And does over the counter mean will be an additional charge? Is that what that means?
No, it just means that any feedback that we need to incorporate, we would make those changes and then just send those changes to someone that can approve it. So it's, for example, with our Telluride project, we can make changes to the building after our approval, and there's 2 people that review it instead of the entire board. I just, if you have a similar situation where if you have requested changes, we can make those, and then 1 or 2 people could review and approve that versus having to come back through a formal hearing.
What he just suggested sounds good to me. Okay, I just want to know this. The, things that, you'd like to see is actually sample the exterior product. Is that correct?
Well,
Yeah,
I would just,
I'm just asking our board.
The siding and the windows.
Wait, let's get one at a time.
Yeah.
If it's not a problem, then I'm just asking. Is one of the things that, anyone on the board, on the siding, is that you actually want to see the sample to enhance? Is that a yay?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's, okay. The other one is on the windows, is, if I understood, is, you would, there's input that you'd like to have, option of different mullions. Mullions being the grids. Is that correct or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah, different way of breaking up windows, or maybe
Okay, got it.
portions. I'm just clarifying.
Okay. I'm just trying to. Third one is, this is the one that has me a little bit confused, is on the windows themselves. It's the height that you would prefer to be taller. But not the width, how it's, like there's single windows and they're divided up where they look like three windows. Is that what you would?
Yes.
Okay. So if what, because of the time frame, okay, let me ask you another. Is there any other things that that I did not mention on those three that you would, that's important enough that you'd want to have more input?
I don't have anything else.
well, again, I'll just say what confused me a little bit about the paper we got. I mean, if we approve this, it's based on this material that we received from you. It shows several different kinds of proposed materials, and they each say proposed materials, the different pictures of all those things that people like. But then we go down to the wood tone product. That is the one that basically you've chosen. That's correct, right?
So like I say, materials are an easy thing to change at this point. Like we can work through that with you for final materials. Our plan is for the wood tone version of the material would be to use this final on page 23 of our document. That would be the version of the wood that we would use for that. These were the other material samples that we had that people liked the colors of and the textures of. So for those colored versions of the buildings, we may use a product like this, but it's really going to be based off the color selection. But for the wood tones, this was the final material. And sorry if we didn't make that clearer for you guys. And we, like I say, I think it would be good for us to send you the samples. So, if we need to talk more through about the materials and the colors and things like that and the windows, we can do that. I guess today we would love just an approval on the massing so we can continue with the engineering. But is that helpful? Like these are the finished materials that we are proposing. We just haven't made the final color selections, and so we're leaving it a little bit open with this other brand to be able to provide those colors if needed.
Same brand, same
But
one.
it's the same brand, same warranty, just a slightly different product look. So
Might I suggest something? Can we come to you today for approval of massing? Here's what I'm going to put a list here for you to basically approve today is approval of building massing, location of exterior walls, roof lines, and buildings location, basically. So we're looking at just the mass, so we can move forward with the engineering effort. And then we can come back to you with the materials and windows, including, is that okay?
Yes, let me repeat it and just go a little slower. It's all
Okay.
good.
Yeah. So I wrote a list here on my tab. So approval of massing of buildings, location of buildings, exterior roof lines, or I'm sorry, exterior walls, roof lines. And then I should probably include porch locations, right?
Well,
Yes.
And am I missing anything else to move forward with engineering?
Good question.
I'd just like to get a discussion kind of on the porch. And this is on leaving the one porch like it is, or having this. I'd like to have a consensus of what. I don't want to make a motion and then, you know, have something left out that the majority won't, or anyway. So I'd like to have. I've already said where I come from. It's not either configuration.
Okay. I prefer it as drawn. With the three-dimensional model, I think looks better than the proposed changes to that model. I think it looks great.
I'm good with it either way. I prefer the one porch for the variety.
Kenny, would your input, Kenny, please?
Yeah, look, I think as drawn and as submitted is, you know, if we're going to move forward, it is as drawn and as submitted. So I'm indifferent as to how many you add, but you got submitted plans and they look good from that perspective.
Okay, I'd like to propose a motion.
Okay. Please.
I'd like to propose that we approve the massing exterior walls, roof line, building location, and porch locations in the documents we have now, with the condition that details on windows and final exterior materials await further information from the architecture.
I'm sorry, did somebody second? I apologize, it's a bit faint.
Yes, Jerry, second.
All right. Mike, let's take a vote.
Yes, approved.
Well, hey, restate the request first, please. That was the motion.
Oh. Motion is to approve as planned, approve the massing of buildings, location, exterior walls, the roof lines, location of buildings, and the porch location. Contingent upon the condition that the details in the windows and the exterior materials will be discussed at a later date.
Will be dealt with at a later date. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a vote. Nate, Mike, you want to lead us?
Kenny.
Approved.
Judd. Yeah. No.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mike. Yes. Unanimous.
Okay, you guys move forward.
Yes, this is what we need to move forward. So yes.
Hey guys, I just want to make a comment. This is going to be a transformational project for this town, and I appreciate all the work that you guys have put into it. It's going to be fantastic.
And your patience. Yes, and your patience.
So before we move on, and I wholeheartedly agree, before we move on, when can we expect? Is it going to be, we want to get you on docket for the, the things we just discussed, the contingent items? Get you on docket for next month, where you'll be ready for that for materials, windows, those items. They're outside of what Ethan had requested to
Yes.
move on. Okay, so we will look to add you to the agenda for the first meeting in September. And we will move forward from there.
Okay, we appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, guys. Yeah, appreciate your help.
Yep. Let me pull the agenda back up for the team here. So just bear with me for 1 second. HPC agenda. Share. All right. As I mentioned at the start of the meeting, the correction for COA 2026-15 that Ben Hake had submitted, he formally requested a postponement that has been forwarded to the team as part of the agenda, as well as a secondary copy to the town clerk for any recording. All right, shall now move on to item G, old business, new business, and I believe we have Mr. Wright and his representation in the room. And so we will open the floor for those parties.
Thank you. Let me introduce myself. I'm Steve Peters. I'm a trial lawyer from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've owned the Huff House at 500 Gunnison. It's been in my family since 1958. I've missed one summer my whole lifetime being up here, so I am extraordinarily appreciative of the work you guys do. And it's why this is such a special community. It really is. And I like that project too. And it's right down the street from me. We have a problem. I want to solve it. And I'm uncomfortable going through certain legal things with lady. I want you guys to know I tried to find, sorry, I'm a little dry. I tried to find the city attorney. Is it still Daniel Bob?
Yeah, and I mean, you can reach out to me and speak to me as the town manager, and then we can get together with Dan Crobb.
That's great. I
Yeah.
apologize. I didn't know that. And just so you guys know, I've worked with Daniel Spivey out of Gunnison before. In the Crest Butte matter I was involved with. I've got a lot of friends and clients with places there, so I'm not coming in like some hokey lawyer just trying to be bad news. You guys are neighbors. I may have to deal with you in the future. I'm not looking for trouble. I'm gonna lay out my position just so you understand what happened, and let's see what solutions we can look at.
But, I mean, one thing though is that this is a historic preservation board. I mean, and it is if there was a cease and desist order, it would be ordered by Gabe, by the building official. He would have ordered the cease and desist. If there's some difference of opinion on terms of if that was correct or not, or if the COA or the building permit was being followed or not, that really doesn't involve the historic preservation board. If there's some change to the COA, if it was being built in some way that was not approved, then he could ask for an amendment to his COA from this board. But really the conversation needs to be between the board to myself, the building official, and if anything, the board of trustees, not the historic preservation board.
Well, when two people from this board instruct the building guy to go make a call, that's what happened. So let me tell you about that.
Mm-hmm.
Since I don't want to be aggressive,
yeah,
but I can. So that's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. Period. The end. And that building, and I talked to him. He said he was instructed to shut it down by two people on this committee, and that's a real problem. So if we need to talk to someone else, I'm happy to talk to them. But number one, you can't shut them down. There was not a written cease and desist. He made that change in April. It was approved by Gabe. I don't know if he was supposed to come back and amend his COA or not. He did not.
Can you clarify some details?
Sure.
If you're explaining that change, just curious.
Sure. Yeah. So the original drawing had a 5/12 pitch, which is not to your guys' code. He changed it to a 6/12 pitch. That's the only change that has been made. And he made the change because he thought that would be better for snow and ice. And by the way, I Googled it this morning, and that's exactly what it is. So, as far as I'm concerned, and I just wanted to tell you guys this because I don't want there to be a misunderstanding. There is no cease and desist. There wasn't any right to do a cease and desist. And so he's got people he's paying for, living in Lake City, doing this work. And what I'm trying to do, and if it's a discussion with you and Gabe after this meeting, I'm happy to do it. I stayed an extra day to do this. If we need to do a Zoom call, we can do a Zoom call. But here's what I was told, and here's what my client was told, is that 2 members of this committee instructed Gabe to shut it down because of a change in the roof that Gabe approved in April of 15. And that's a problem.
So why would he stop if there's no written cease or desist? If there's no paperwork actually documenting it?
He didn't stop, and he's not going to. And I'm here to tell you he's not.
Well, I mean, so if there's no written cease and desist, I don't see what the issue is. I don't know all the facts. I've been busy with flash floods and wildfires, so I have no idea what the facts are. So,
Well, I know how important that is. You know
Yeah.
how important it is
sure.
to keep a project on, and you know how important it is to keep a crew on too.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, if you guys are we're sitting here, if you're not directing a cease and desist, we don't have a problem.
I mean, if there was no cease and desist written, there's no reason to stop. If it's just by word of mouth or whatever, because it takes the paperwork to actually make anything happen that's enforceable.
Well,
Agreed.
agreed.
So I didn't even know. I thought there was a written one, but I didn't know. I didn't know because I haven't had time to even think about it. So
Well, then if you give me 3 more minutes, just in case we walk out of here
Mhm.
and there is a written cease and desist,
mhm.
we're lined up to protect that. He's going to ignore it. Your relief then is a fine or injunctive relief, or my relief is injunctive relief.
All right.
And Derek is really trying to avoid that because this is not a material change. This is actually a change. And I'm a guy that looks at the roof every morning when I get up and have my cup of coffee. As far as I'm concerned, it's more aesthetically pleasing in the historic piece. So I just want to make sure there wasn't a problem. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, really, that burden would fall upon me as the town manager to figure all that. You know, not really on this board.
Little clarification, the only change is the pitch of the roof,
Yes, sir.
the main roof,
Yes, sir.
okay?
To the south side.
It's going from 5 towards the 6 floor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just.
Is
Okay.
that something that
Yes.
we should come in at a later date? He's going to keep working to amend, or we just go?
Is it true or not that, in the drawings that we have that we approved, there's, and I'll call it a dormer, but, I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, but on the south side, there's a extension, that goes out from the roof on the south side. And in the drawings that we have, that does not reach the peak of the roof.
Correct.
And that's.
And now it does reach the peak of the roof, and that changed it from 5/12 to 6/12.
And I would definitely suggest that we do a site visit with Gabe.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the Historic Preservation Commission and myself. And then we do a site visit and assess the situation.
That sounds reasonable. I mean, whether what's being done there is according to the plans.
Yeah, that's the only way. It's the only way I could come to the truth of the matter, if you will.
I like that, myself too. The thing is, instead, I don't want to have overload or solids or anything, but we've been doing what 2 of the members go, so I'd like.
As a subcommittee.
I'm just saying. We
Okay.
have this.
Well, if you haven't received a written cease and desist, I wouldn't stop myself. So you know, At 2, I say that like today, I'm already late for a meeting that I have. Like, it started at 9, so I gotta go. I pushed it back to 9:15. But if you reach out to me this afternoon, and we'll try to schedule something for maybe later today or tomorrow or whenever. Maybe
I have to go to the hospital right after this for some blood tests and stuff. I'll be back later this afternoon.
Okay.
That'll be okay.
All right.
And if Jared or Mike or y'all have time,
I'm available all day. Well, you guys, if you guys wouldn't mind just setting a time, I'll be there.
that's reasonable.
Yeah.
4:00,
When? I'm sorry.
4:00 today.
We leave tomorrow.
I need to see if Gabe is available at 4. That's the other party that we need to be included. I am available at 4 also. So, let's at least plan on that tentatively, and we'll see if we can get Gabe to be there.
Do you have Steve's phone number just in case?
Yeah, what's your number, Steve?
It's Steve Peters, Peters, 918-808-2238.
Yeah, I'll give you a call as soon as I can find him.
I've got to leave early in the morning for a hearing Thursday.
I will. I mean, it's very easy.
I don't get there.
I'll be there. Yeah, if Gabe can't be there, I'll at least be there, if not.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate it, John.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I gotta go. I'm late.
I gotta go.
Thanks, Lex.
Yeah.
Hey, so guys, I'm in support, obviously, of the site visit. I will just pose the question, and it shouldn't be a barrier to that, is that, our applicant came forward with other changes for approval. I guess I'll ask the question, why weren't these brought forward? It's an open question. You don't have to answer it, but,
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were talking to me. Can you ask that again?
Yeah. So I'll pose the topic. So I'm in support of obviously the committee doing the visit this afternoon, right? And look for paths to move forward. Just to put it out there, I mean, the applicant was before us a month ago for window changes. I'm just curious as why these weren't brought forward, and it's really, look, if you're going to make changes, we got to bring them forward. If it's substantial to the exterior of the project from what was submitted, the applicant brought forward window changes, and we went through a review and approval. I think it was our last meeting, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe in the one prior. I'll just make the statement for the future. Any changes need to be, to the exterior of the plan submitted, need to be brought before, the committee for approval. That's a statement.
I understand that. And as I've told Derek, in April, when this was approved by Gabe told him he could approve it. And then I, in reading through your regulations, do not believe that this is a material change at the end of the day. Should Derek have been more attentive? If he would have called me in April, I would have said, hey, confirm that somehow, But
yeah.
Guess what, Kenny? What happens to me is they always come to me after, but this is it's an innocent mistake.
Understood.
It's an incredible financial burden if he had to go back and redo this
Yep.
or reorder materials or something like that. Now, I'm not as versed in architecture as you gentlemen are, but I will tell you this, just as a layperson, it just doesn't look like a big deal to me. Well,
I understand the position. I'll make the recommendation they ask if there are any other changes to the exterior of the building from what was submitted and what the team will go review today, that those be brought before the committee. We are in a National Historic District and we do have regulations relative to it. So I understand your position on immateriality, but the statement, look, the team will go do the work that we've committed to go do this afternoon. My statement is if there are other changes relative to submitted plans that the applicant is desiring to make to the exterior of what was approved, that we bring those before the committee going forward.
he absolutely will.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. We're not adjourned yet as a committee. Let me pull the agenda back up. One moment. All right, we have, should be coming up on the screen here in just a moment. We've concluded old business. I do not believe we have any other reports or correspondence that have been received at this point that have been communicated. If everybody's all right, we will move to the next item, which is adjournment of the Lake City Historic Preservation Commission for August 4th, 2026. We shall adjourn. Hope everybody has a good day.
Make sure Mike turns off the.
Yep. Please hit the end meeting and stop transcription and recording, please.
Kenny, before you go.
Yes.
I brought some materials that John Coy brought over to me that I just wanted to share with everybody. He wanted
Okay.
to just like get a visual for him. When you're next in town, will you stop by my place and just have a look at it? It's a faux, basically cedar shake or shingle. There's a couple different varieties that he's proposing. He hasn't submitted a COA.
Okay.
He's thinking about it, and I think more broadly, we should consider it in sort of as a future material as we
Okay.
move forward with sort of dealing with the wildland urban interface.
Understood. Jared, can I ask a question? I mean, I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to be back. So if you wouldn't mind taking a few photos and sending, and if for those that are local can stop by if you haven't, I think that would also be acceptable. Thank you. I apologize. Gotta get kids back in school. So.
No problem. I can do that.
All right, very good. All right, so we shall move for an adjournment of the Lake City Historic Preservation Commission on Tuesday, or August 4th, 2026. Consider the meeting closed. Nice.
Well, no, I'm just saying. It's the recording, and what's on spot.